G'day viewers, time for an update on my underwater forest tank. Here's what it looked like when we left off in the last video, and here's what it looks like now. As you can see, it's a little bit overgrown, it's been a bit neglected, but we've added some more species and we've changed a few things around, so let's get right into the maintenance. So we'll start by removing the covers I used to get that lighting effect on the rear of the tank, and we'll rip that cover glass off out of the way. And we'll start by thinning out that Cameroon moss. It's really taken off and it's starting to shade a lot of the plants underneath. It gives it a really good spooky dark forest feel, but the plants underneath are starting to struggle. So we'll thin that out, we'll get rid of a lot of it and open it up a bit. And before I forget, if you haven't already seen it, I'll leave a link down below and at the end of the video to the build video for this tank so you can see how it all came together. And that big Hygrophila pinnifordia there, it's got way too tall, it's really out of scale for the rest of it, and it's thrown lots of runners, so we'll clean those runners out and we'll only keep a few of the main ones. And you can see there we just pick through, find a runner, cut it off right at the base as close as we can, and then pull that runner out with all those baby plants on. Next up, have some green rotala. So we'll take the tops out of it and then we'll replant the stems and try and expand that bushy area a bit. Try and get that nice and thick. And at the front, where I used to have all that chainsawed, I've pulled that out and I've put in some of this Staragini repens. And we'll keep that nice and low and try and get a carpet going, and so we can see that log behind it, which was lost behind the taller stuff. And now the Hydrocotyl Japan, it's really taken over. We'll thin it out. It's looking a bit ordinary. It's missing a bit of light from being under all of that moss. And a lot of those runners have spread and they've started to work their way backwards through the tank. So we'll pull out as much as we can and try and keep it close to just train it up around those trees. And now to clean up a lot of that hair grass at the back, which is getting a bit tall and a bit unruly, and it's getting a little bit of algae on it. So we don't make quite so much of a mess. We'll put the gravel vac in there and start siphoning water out and try and keep the end of that gravel vac as close to those scissors as we can. That way a lot of the short blades of grass and things will get sucked out as soon as they're cut off. So we've drained the water, and then while we're refilling, it's time to pick through, and any bits and pieces we've left, we pull out with that net. So once we're full of water again, we'll put the cover glass back on, and then I'll put my shades on the back, which shade the top half of the back of the tank, and it gives it that really cool lighting effect. And here it is, all trimmed up, finished. It's still a little bit cloudy from the water change, and there's still a few trimmings floating around. But at the end of the last video I did mention I wanted to put one more tetra, like mid-swimmer species in, and I also wanted to put a bottom feeder in. So let's get to those right now. So first up is this little school of Prestella tetras, which I really love. They're highly underrated, but they school fairly tight, and that silver colour's nice with the red tail, but it's that little bit of yellow on the fins that really stands out and really makes this a cool fish. And for the bottom feeders, have these, one of the coolest oddball fish, coolie loaches. There's some striped coolies and some black coolies in there as well. They're the kind of fish you don't see all that often. They do prefer to hide during the day, but when you have several of them, they feel a lot more confident and they come out more. But Especially in this type of tank, you won't see them till the food comes out, then they just all appear out of nowhere. And they really add to the forest effect of this tank, because with those stripes they look like some sort of jungle python or something creeping through the undergrowth, and then they appear and then they'll disappear and reappear somewhere else. Now, as mysterious and slow moving as the striped coolies are, these black ones are absolutely crazy. They're 1,000 miles an hour, they don't stop, and they just tear around like a chook with its head cut off. And they've gotten in and they've lifted up all of this carpet. So that carpet will have to come out, and we'll replant some of this smaller chainsword, and hopefully that'll fill in and it'll withstand the abuse a little bit better. So I've only started with a few small plants there, but as you'll see, it'll take over fairly quick. The last new species is this true Siamese algae eater, shown here not eating algae, eating a wafer. But he must be eating some algae because he's put on a fair bit of size. He's the biggest fish in the tank. Well viewers, that just about covers all the changes and the updates to this tank. I'll leave you with a bit of footage as always, and I've had a few requests about releasing a video. Some people say half an hour, some have said 15 hours of just the tank with a bit of music and just a nice gentle feel relaxing video. So if that's the kind of thing you'd be interested in, let me know down below. And if you've made it this far, thanks for sticking around, and if you like leaving likes, leave a like, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.